Welcome back to Quarter Dollar, where we uncover the hidden treasures hiding in your pocket change and old coin collections. Today, I am going to reveal something that will absolutely blow your mind. Those presidential dollar coins that you probably have sitting in a drawer somewhere, the ones you thought were just worth $1, could actually be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm not exaggerating. Some of these presidential dollars have sold at major auctions for over $500,000, and you might have one right now without even knowing it. In this video, I am counting down the top 5 most valuable presidential dollar coins that are worth an absolute fortune, and by the end, you are going to be racing to check every single dollar coin you own. If you love discovering valuable coins and learning what makes them worth so much money, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on these incredible coin discoveries. Trust me, you do not want to miss what is coming. Let's dive in. First up on our countdown at number 5, we have a presidential dollar that most people completely overlook. And that is a massive mistake because this coin right here could be worth an absolute fortune. Take a close look at what I'm showing you. This is the Ulysses S presidential dollar. And folks, if you have been paying attention to the coin collecting world, you know that certain presidential dollars have been selling for prices that will make your jaw hit the floor. This particular coin features the 18th president of the United States, Ulysses S. Grant, the legendary Civil War general who led the Union Army to victory and then served as president from 1869 to 1877. Now look at this specimen carefully. You can see Grant's distinctive profile on the obverse side with his full beard, strong facial features, and that determined expression that defined his leadership during one of America's most challenging periods. The detail work on this coin is absolutely remarkable. You can make out individual strands of his hair, the texture of his beard, and even the fine details of his military coat and collar. Now here is what makes this coin so special and why you need to pay very close attention. The inscriptions around the edge read Ulysses S. Grant at the top, and you can see the years of his presidency along the side. The motto, "In God We Trust," is also present, and every single detail matters when it comes to determining value. This coin shows some light circulation wear, which tells us it was actually used in commerce, but the overall condition is quite impressive. The rim is strong and well-defined. There are no major scratches or gouges, and the golden manganese brass composition still has that beautiful, beautiful luster that collectors absolutely love to see. The fields, which are the flat areas between the raised design elements, are relatively smooth with just minor contact marks that you would expect from a coin that has been handled. Now flip this beauty over and look at that reverse design. This is where presidential dollars really shine. You see the iconic Statue of Liberty in stunning detail, holding her torch high with those 7 rays of her crown clearly visible. The inscriptions United States of America curve along the top edge, and you can see the denomination $1 clearly marked. The date and mint mark are critical identifiers that we need to examine closely because they can mean the difference between a $1 coin and a coin worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The Ulysses S. Grant presidential dollar was released in 2011 as part of the Presidential Dollar Coin Program that began in 2007. The United States Mint produced these coins at multiple facilities, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and here is where things get absolutely fascinating. The Philadelphia Mint struck approximately 38,080,000 Grant dollars for circulation, while the Denver Mint produced about 37,100,000 coins. Those sound like huge numbers, and you might be thinking, well, if they've made so many, how can they be valuable? But here's the critical point that changes everything. The survival rate of high-grade uncirculated examples is shockingly low because most of these coins either circulated heavily or were simply never saved by collectors in pristine condition. By 2011, the public had largely lost interest in presidential dollars for everyday transactions. So many of these coins went straight into Federal Reserve vaults and were never properly preserved by numismatists. Now, let me tell you what makes certain Ulysses S. Grant presidential dollars worth an absolute fortune. First, condition is absolutely everything in the coin collecting world. A circulated Grant dollar like the one you are looking at right now, in average circulated condition with honest wear, is typically worth its face value of $1 to maybe $2 or $3 to a collector who needs it to fill a hole in their album. But hold on, because we are just getting started, and the values are about to explode in ways that will shock you. An extremely fine example where you can still see sharp details and only light wear on the highest points might fetch $5 to $10. And about an uncirculated specimen, meaning it barely saw any circulation and still retains much of its original mint luster, can bring $15 to $30 depending on eye appeal. But now, here is where your mind is going to be absolutely blown. When you start talking about fully uncirculated Grant dollars that have never been spent, never been circulated, and have been professionally graded and certified by PCGS or NGC, the values skyrocket into territory that seems almost impossible to believe. A standard mint state MS-63 or MS-64 Grant dollars might sell for $50 to $100, which is already 100 times face value. An MS-65 example with beautiful golden luster and minimal contact marks can fetch $200 to $400. Moving on to number 4, and folks, this next presidential dollar is going to absolutely shock you because it features one of America's most beloved founding fathers, and the values we are about to discuss will leave you speechless. Take a good look at this beauty right here. This is the Andrew Jackson presidential dollar, and what you are looking at could potentially be worth more than a brand new luxury car. Andrew Jackson, the 7th president of the United States, is featured on this golden dollar, and his legacy as a military hero and populist president makes this coin incredibly significant to collectors. Now look closely at the image I'm showing you. You can see Jackson's distinctive wild hair flowing dramatically, almost like a lion's mane, which perfectly captures his fierce and untamed personality. His penetrating eyes, strong jawline, and determined expression are rendered in remarkable detail on this coin. The inscription, Andrew Jackson, curves along the top of the coin, and you can see 7th president along the bottom edge with the years 1829 to 1837 marking his 2 terms in office. This particular specimen shows light to moderate circulation, which means it was actually used in everyday transactions. You can see some minor wear on the highest points of Jackson's hair and cheekbone, but overall the detail is still quite strong and the coin retains much of its original golden luster. The rim is well defined with no major damage, and the fields show typical contact marks that you would expect from a coin that has been handled. The edge lettering, which we will examine in just a moment, is crucial because that is where some of the most valuable errors occur on presidential dollars. Now flip this coin over and take a look at that magnificent reverse design. Once again, we see Lady Liberty in all her glory, standing tall with her torch raised high, symbolizing freedom and enlightenment. The detail work is absolutely stunning. You can make out the individual folds in her robe, the rays emanating from her crown, and even the texture of the torch she is holding. The inscriptions United States of America arc gracefully across the top, and $1 is clearly marked at the bottom. The designer's initials and mint mark details are also present, and these small details can make an enormous difference in value. The Andrew Jackson presidential dollar was released in 2008 as the 7th coin in the presidential dollar series, and here is where the story gets absolutely fascinating. The Philadelphia Mint produced approximately 61,180,000 Jackson dollars for circulation, while the Denver Mint struck about 61,070,000 coins. Now, you might think that with over 122 million coins produced, they cannot possibly be rare or valuable, but you would be completely wrong. And I am about to explain why. By 2008, the presidential dollar program was already facing a major problem. The American public was not using these coins in everyday commerce. People preferred paper dollars, and as a result, hundreds of millions of presidential dollars were piling up in Federal Reserve vaults, never circulating, never being saved by collectors and proper holders, and never being preserved in the pristine condition that serious numismatists demand. This created a very unusual situation. While the overall mintage numbers are high, the number of Jackson dollars that survive in true gem uncirculated condition with no bag marks, no contact marks, and exceptional eye appeal is shockingly low. And when you start talking about error varieties and special strikes, the rarity factor goes through the absolute roof. Let me break down the values for you, and I promise you are going to be stunned. A circulated Andrew Jackson dollar in average condition, like the one you are seeing here, is worth face value to maybe $2 or $3 to a collector who needs it for their collection. An extremely fine example with lightware might bring $5 to $8. An about uncirculated specimen that barely saw any circulation could fetch $12 to $25 depending on how much original luster remains. But now, hold on to your seat because we are about to enter territory that seems almost unbelievable. When you move into the world of certified, uncirculated Andrew Jackson dollars, the values explode dramatically. An MS-63 or MS-64 example might sell for $40 to $80, which is already a fantastic return. An MS-65 Jackson dollar with strong luster and minimal contact marks can bring $150 to $300 at auction. MS-66 specimens, which are significantly rarer and have exceptional visual appeal, have sold for $400 to $900. And here is where serious collectors start competing fiercely. An MS-67 Andrew Jackson presidential dollar representing a coin that is nearly perfect with just the tiniest imperfections visible only under magnification has sold for $2,000 to $4,500 at major numismatic auctions. But we are just scratching the surface because the error varieties of the Andrew Jackson dollar are where values reach absolutely astronomical levels. The most famous and sought-after error is the missing edge lettering variety, also called the plain edge or smooth edge error. Remember, presidential dollars are supposed to have the date, mint mark, and mottos inscribed on the edge of the coin. But due to errors in the minting process, some Jackson dollars were released with completely blank edges. These smooth edge errors are incredibly rare and highly prized by collectors. A plain edge Andrew Jackson dollar in uncirculated condition can sell for $2,000 to $5,000. High-grade examples certified MS-65 or better have brought $8,000 to $18,000 at auction. And perfect MS-67 or MS-68 smooth edge specimens have sold for an absolutely staggering $30,000 to $65,000 because of their extreme rarity and the intense demand from error coin specialists. Then there are doubled die errors where the dies used to strike the coins had doubling in the design, creating a dramatic effect where letters or design elements appear twice. Strong doubled die Andrew Jackson dollars, especially those with prominent doubling on Andrew Jackson or In God We Trust, can sell for $6,000 to $15,000 in high grades. Spectacular examples with bold, eye-catching doubling have reached $25,000 to $45,000 at major auctions. Off-center strikes are another category that drives collectors wild. An Andrew Jackson dollar struck 15 to 20% off-center in mint state condition can bring $10,000 to $25,000. A dramatic off-center error of 30 to 40%, where a significant portion of the design is missing, can fetch $40,000 to $85,000 because these are so visually striking and incredibly rare. And here is where things get truly mind-blowing. Proof versions of the Andrew Jackson dollar were struck at the San Francisco Mint exclusively for collectors. These proof coins have deeply mirrored fields and heavily frosted design elements that create a stunning cameo effect. Standard proof Jackson dollars in PR69 condition sell for $300 to $800. Perfect PR70 examples can bring $1,000 to $2,500, but deep cameo proofs. Now coming in at number 3, and folks, if you thought the previous coins were valuable, what I am about to show you is going to leave you absolutely speechless. Take a close look at this beauty right here. This is the Abraham Lincoln presidential dollar, and I am telling you right now, certain examples of this coin have sold for prices that would make most people think I am making it up, but I am not. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president of the United States, is without question the most beloved and iconic president in American history, and having his portrait on this golden dollar makes it one of the most sought-after coins in the entire presidential dollar series. Now look very carefully at this specimen I am showing you. The detail work is absolutely breathtaking. You can see Lincoln's unmistakable profile with that distinctive beard, those deep, penetrating eyes that seem to carry the weight of a nation torn apart by civil war, and that solemn, thoughtful expression that defined his leadership during America's darkest hour. The engraver captured every single detail with remarkable precision. You can make out individual whiskers in his beard, the texture of his wavy hair, the deep lines in his face that show the tremendous burden of preserving the Union, and even the fine details of his bow tie and formal collar. The inscription Abraham Lincoln curves majestically along the top edge, and on the right side you can clearly see 16th president with the years 1861 to 1865, 1865, marking his presidency that was tragically cut short by assassination at Ford's Theater. This particular coin shows moderate circulation wear, and here is what makes this so interesting. You can see some light discoloration and spotting on Lincoln's cheek and forehead, those small reddish-brown areas that tell us this coin has been handled and exposed to moisture or environmental elements over time. There is honest wear on the highest points of the design, particularly on Lincoln's hair, his cheekbone, and the tip of his nose, where the metal has been slightly smoothed from handling. But despite this circulation wear, the overall detail is still remarkably strong and clear. The rim is solid and well-defined with no major nicks, dents, or damage. And the fields, those flat areas surrounding Lincoln's portrait, show typical contact marks and minor scratches that you would expect from a coin that actually circulated in commerce and passed through many hands. But here is the absolutely critical point that you need to understand. Even though this coin shows wear and is not in perfect, uncirculated condition, it still retains much of that beautiful golden manganese brass luster that makes presidential dollars so visually appealing. And more importantly, the edge lettering, which we need to examine very carefully, is where some of the most valuable and shocking errors occur on these coins. So the edge should contain the date, the mint mark, the motto, E pluribus unum, and in God we trust, all infused into the edge of the coin. Any deviation from this standard format, any missing elements, any doubling, misalignment, or striking errors can send values into the absolute stratosphere. And I'm going to reveal those jaw-dropping prices in just a moment that will make you want to check every single Lincoln dollar you can find. Now flip this coin over and take a good look at that magnificent reverse design. Once again, we see Lady Liberty rendered in stunning detail, standing tall and proud with her torch held high above her head, representing the freedom, unity, and democratic ideals that Lincoln fought so desperately to preserve during the Civil War. You can see the 7 rays of her crown clearly defined, each one representing a continent or a sea. The folds and draping of her robe are beautifully sculpted, and you can even make out the texture of the torch she is holding with the flame burning brightly at the top. The inscriptions, United States of America, curve gracefully along the top edge, and $1 is prominently displayed at the bottom. The designer's initials and other small details are also present, and every single element of this design works together harmoniously to create a coin that is not just currency, but a genuine work of art that honors one of America's greatest heroes and most transformative leaders. The Abraham Lincoln presidential dollar was released in 2010 as the 16th coin in the presidential dollar series, and the timing and significance could not have been more perfect. Lincoln has always been an absolute favorite subject for coin collectors and American history enthusiasts. His image has appeared on the penny since 1909, commemorating the 100th anniversary of his birth, and having him featured on a dollar coin created enormous excitement and anticipation in the numismatic community. The Philadelphia Mint produced approximately 48,020,000 Lincoln dollars for circulation, while the Denver Mint struck about 49 million coins. That is nearly 97 million coins total, which sounds like an absolutely massive number that would suggest these coins are common and not particularly valuable. But here is the shocking reality that most people simply do not understand, and this is going to change everything you think you know about presidential dollar values. By 2010, presidential dollars were barely circulating at all in everyday commerce. The Federal Reserve had accumulated massive stockpiles of these coins sitting in vaults across the country because the American public simply was not using them for transactions. People preferred paper dollars for convenience, vending machines were not equipped to accept dollar coins, and banks were not ordering them because there was no demand. This created a very unusual and unexpected situation where millions of coins were minted, but very few were actually preserved by collectors in pristine, gem uncirculated condition with no bag marks, no contact marks, and exceptional eye appeal that serious numismatists demand. And when you start talking about error varieties, proof strikes, and special high-grade mint state examples, the rarity becomes absolutely extreme, and the values reach levels that will leave you completely stunned and scrambling to check your own coin collection. Let me break down exactly what an Abraham Lincoln presidential dollar is worth in different conditions and varieties, and I want you to pay extremely close attention because these numbers are going to shock you to your core. A circulated Lincoln dollar in average condition, like the one you are looking at right now, with honest wear and typical handling marks, is worth face value to maybe $2 or $3 to a collector who needs it to complete their presidential dollar album. Nothing too exciting there. An extremely fine example with light wear but still strong detail and some remaining luster might bring $6 to $15 depending on eye appeal. An about uncirculated specimen that barely circulated and still retains most of its original golden mint luster could fetch $25 to $50 depending on how well preserved it is and whether it has any distracting marks or spots. But now we are moving into the realm of professionally certified uncirculated coins graded by PCGS or NGC. And this is where values absolutely explode into territory that seems almost unbelievable. An MS-63 or MS-64. Climbing to number 2 on our countdown. And folks, what I am about to show you is going to absolutely shake you to your core. Take a very close look at this coin right here. This is the James Madison presidential dollar, and I'm telling you right now, certain examples of this coin have sold for prices that would make most people think I am exaggerating, but every single word I'm about to say is backed up by actual auction records. James Madison, the 4th president of the United States and the brilliant architect behind the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, is featured on this golden dollar, and his monumental significance in American history makes this coin incredibly important to serious collectors and history enthusiasts who understand the value of owning a piece of American heritage. Now, examine this specimen very carefully because every single detail matters when it comes to determining whether you are holding a $1 coin or a coin worth more than most people earn in an entire year. You can see Madison's distinctive profile rendered in remarkable detail. His receding hairline, those intelligent, penetrating eyes that reflect the mind of a political genius who shaped the very foundation of American democracy, his prominent nose, and that thoughtful, contemplative expression that define the man known as the father of the Constitution. The engraver did an absolutely magnificent job capturing Madison's likeness with stunning accuracy. You can make out the individual curls in his hair that is pulled back in the late 18th century style, the texture of his formal coat with the high collar that was fashionable during the early Republic period, and even the subtle lines in his face that show his wisdom, experience, and the tremendous burden of leading a young nation through war and political turmoil. The inscription James Madison curves elegantly along the top edge of the coin, and on the right side you can clearly see 4th president with the years 1809 to 1817 marking his 2 terms in office during which he led America through the War of 1812, defended the nation's sovereignty against British aggression, and helped establish the United States as a legitimate world power. This particular coin shows light to moderate circulation wear, and here is what makes this specimen so fascinating to examine closely. You can see some honest wear on the highest points of Madison's hair, particularly on the top of his head and the curls near his ear, his cheekbone, where the metal has been slightly smoothed from countless hands touching and handling this coin, and the tip of his nose, which is always one of the first areas to show wear on any portrait coin. There are some minor contact marks and small scratches scattered throughout the fields, those flat areas surrounding the portraits, which tell us this coin was actually used in commerce and passed through many different hands over the years, experiencing the normal wear and tear that comes with circulation. You can also notice some light toning and discoloration, particularly around the rim and in the protected, recessed areas of the design where environmental elements and moisture have created that natural patina that develops on coins over time. But despite this circulation wear, and this is absolutely critical to understand, the overall detail is still remarkably strong and well preserved. The rim is solid, raised, and well defined with no major damage, dents, gouges, or edge problems that would significantly detract from the coin's value. The lettering is still sharp, crisp, and clearly readable without any weakness or mushiness that you sometimes see on heavily worn coins. And most importantly, the coin still retains much of that beautiful golden manganese brass luster that gives presidential dollars their distinctive appearance and makes them so visually appealing and attractive to collectors who appreciate the artistry and craftsmanship of modern United States coinage. The edge lettering, which should contain the date, mint mark, and the mottos E pluribus unum and In God We Trust infused into the edge, is absolutely critical to examine very carefully because that is where some of the most valuable, sought after, and shocking errors occur. that have sold for prices that will leave you absolutely stunned and questioning whether you heard me correctly. Now flip this beauty over and look at that spectacular, magnificent reverse design that appears on all presidential dollars. Once again, we see the Statue of Liberty in all her glorious splendor, standing tall and proud with her torch raised high above her head, symbolizing the freedom, liberty, justice, and democratic principles that James Madison fought so hard to enshrine permanently in the Constitution and Bill of Rights that protect American freedoms to this very day. The detail work is absolutely breathtaking and shows the incredible skill of the United States mint engravers. You can see the 7 rays of her crown clearly defined and sharply struck, each one representing a continent or a sea, spreading enlightenment and liberty across the entire world. And the folds and draping of her robe are beautifully sculpted with remarkable depth, dimension, and 3-dimensional quality that makes the design come alive. You can make out the texture of the torch she is holding firmly in her raised right hand with the flame burning brightly at the top, and even the individual details of her face, her features, and her expression are visible under close examination with proper lighting. The inscriptions United States of America are gracefully across the top edge in bold, clear lettering, and $1. $1 is prominently displayed at the bottom, leaving no doubt about the denomination. Every single element of this design works together harmoniously to create a coin that is not just currency, not just a medium of exchange, but a genuine work of numismatic art that honors one of America's most brilliant, influential, and consequential founding fathers whose ideas and principles continue to shape our nation. The James Madison presidential dollar was released in November 2007 as the 4th coin in the presidential dollar series, and the timing was absolutely perfect because collector interest, public excitement, and media attention surrounding the new program was still running extremely high. People were actively searching their change, visiting banks to get rolls of new presidential dollars, and collectors were scrambling to build complete sets in high-grade condition. The Philadelphia Mint produced approximately 84,560,000 Madison dollars for circulation, while the Denver Mint struck about 87,780,000 coins, and that is over 172 million coins total, which sounds like an absolutely enormous, staggering number. That would suggest these coins are common, readily available, and not particularly valuable or rare. But here is the shocking, eye-opening truth that changes everything. And this is information that most casual collectors, coin roll hunters, and even some experienced numismatists simply do not know, understand, or fully appreciate. Even though the mintage numbers are extremely high by historical standards, the survival rate of truly pristine, flawless gem, uncirculated examples with no bag marks, no contact marks, no scratches, exceptional strike quality with full sharp details, and outstanding eye appeal with blazing golden luster is shockingly, surprisingly low. Most of these coins either circulated in commerce and developed where, like the example you are looking at, or they sat in large. And now, the moment you have all been waiting for with anticipation and excitement, we have finally arrived at the #1 position on our countdown, and I'm telling you right now, what I'm about to reveal to you is going to absolutely blow your mind and leave you completely speechless. Take a very close look at this extraordinary coin right here. This is the John Tyler presidential dollar. And folks, I am not exaggerating when I say that certain examples, specific varieties, and rare error coins from this issue have sold at major numismatic auctions for prices that are so astronomical, so unbelievably high, that most people simply refuse to believe me until I show them the actual documented proof with certified auction records from Heritage Auctions, Stax Bowers, and other major numismatic firms that handle million-dollar coin transactions on a regular basis. John Tyler, the 10th president of the United States, holds an absolutely fascinating and unique place in American history that most people do not fully understand or appreciate. He was the first vice president to assume the presidency following the death of a sitting president when William Henry Harrison died just 31 days into his term in 1841, creating a constitutional crisis about presidential succession that Tyler resolved by boldly asserting full presidential authority rather than serving merely as an acting president. This precedent-setting decision shaped the future of American government and established the clear line of succession that we follow to this very day. Having Tyler's portrait on this golden dollar makes it not just a piece of currency, but a tangible connection to one of the most consequential and transformative moments in the development of American constitutional democracy. Now, examine this specimen with extreme care and attention to every single minute detail, because what you are looking at could potentially be worth a small fortune. If you know exactly what to look for, you can see Tyler's distinctive profile rendered in absolutely stunning, remarkable detail that showcases the incredible artistic skill and technical precision of the United States mint engravers. His prominent forehead that reflects his intelligence and political acumen, those piercing, intense eyes that seem to look right through you with determination and resolve, his distinctive aquiline nose that was one of his most recognizable features, and that firm, resolute expression that defined a man who stood his ground against tremendous political opposition from both parties during his controversial presidency. The engraver captured every single nuance of Tyler's appearance with breathtaking accuracy and artistry. You can make out the individual strands and waves in his thick, flowing hair that cascades down past his ears in the romantic style popular during the 1840s, the fine texture of his high, formal collar and cravat that was standard dress for gentlemen of his era, and even the subtle lines and contours of his face that reveal his character, his strength, and the tremendous burden of leading a deeply divided nation during a period of intense sectional conflict and political turmoil. The inscription John Tyler curves majestically along the top edge of the coin in bold, clear lettering. And on the right side, you can plainly see 10th President with the years 1841 to 1845, marking his single term in office during which he annexed Texas, expanded American territory, and defended the principles of states' rights and limited government that he believed were fundamental to the Constitution. This particular coin shows light to moderate circulation wear, and here is what makes examining this specimen so absolutely critical and important for determining its true value. You can see honest, legitimate wear on the highest points of Tyler's portrait, particularly on the top of his head where his hair shows slight flattening and smoothing from countless hands touching and handling this coin over the years. His cheekbone where the raised metal has been worn down ever so slightly from friction and contact, and the tip of his prominent nose, which is always one of the very first areas to develop wear on any portrait coin, because it is the highest point of the design and receives the most contact. There are some minor contact marks, small scratches and light abrasions scattered throughout the fields, those flat background areas surrounding Tyler's portrait, which tell us definitively that this coin actually circulated in commerce, passed through many different hands, was used for real transactions, and experienced the normal, expected wear and tear that comes with being handled, stored in pockets and purses, and exchanged in everyday business. You can also notice some light toning, subtle discoloration, and natural patina development, particularly around the rim and in the protected recessed areas of the design, where environmental elements, atmospheric moisture, and oxidation have created that characteristic golden brown coloration that develops on manganese brass coins over time when they are exposed to air, humidity, and handling. There may be some very small spots or areas of darker toning on Tyler's cheek, forehead, or in the field areas that represent localized chemical reactions where the coin came into contact with moisture, oils from human skin, or other substances during its time in circulation. But despite this honest circulation wear, and this is absolutely essential to understand if you want to accurately assess this coin's potential value, the overall detail remains remarkably strong, sharp, and well preserved. The rim is solid, raised, and well-defined all the way around the entire circumference with no major damage, dents, gouges, edge problems, or structural issues that would significantly detract from the coin's collectability, eye appeal, or market value. The lettering is still crisp, clear, and easily readable without any significant weakness, mushiness, or loss of definition that you sometimes encounter on heavily worn or poorly struck coins. And most importantly, the coin still retains a substantial amount of that beautiful, lustrous, golden manganese brass color that gives presidential dollars their distinctive, attractive appearance and makes them so visually appealing and desirable to collectors who appreciate the artistry, craftsmanship, and aesthetic beauty of modern United States coinage. The edge lettering, which should contain the date, the mint mark indicating whether it was struck at Philadelphia or Denver, and the mottos E, Pluribus unum, and in God we trust, all incused or stamped into the edge of the coin in raised letters, is absolutely critical, essential, and vitally important to examine with extreme care, attention, and precision, because that is where some of the most valuable, sought-after, rare, and absolutely shocking error varieties occur that have sold at major numismatic auctions for prices that will leave you completely stunned, amazed, and questioning whether you heard me correctly when I reveal those jaw-dropping, mind-blowing numbers in just a few moments. Now flip this absolute beauty over and take a good, long, careful look at that spectacular, magnificent, breathtaking reverse design that appears on all presidential dollar coins throughout the entire series. The reverse features the Statue of Liberty in all her glorious, majestic splendor, standing tall, proud, and defiant with her torch raised high above her head in a powerful gesture of freedom, symbolizing the liberty, justice, opportunity